Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky and I'm joined as always by the man who claims in his Twitter bio to be an expert in 1970s and 1980s confectionery. So I guess that makes him Mr. Confectioner. Oh. It's Greg. How are you today, Greg?
Yeah, I'm good. I forgot that I'd forgotten that I'd put that in my Twitter bio. But then occasionally I'll get followed by people who work in the chocolate industry in the UK. Stuff honestly, weird.
Really?
Yeah.
So you get like Cadbury's following you or something?
Yeah. I remember my friend, his wife. I can't remember what her second. Oh, she's from New Zealand, and I think she put in her Twitter bio, instead of token Kiwi, she put token Kiwi, like JR. So she gets like loads of these Lord of the Rings enthusiasts following her on Twitter, like waiting for her to post interesting things about Lord of the Rings, and I'm assuming leaving disappointed.
So what, lots of people with like a Hobbit fetish just following, or is it just general Lord of the Rings fans?
Yeah, well,
following her.
I don't know. I mean, there's probably a few Hobbit fetish people in there, I'm sure. They've got a thing for big hairy feet.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, well, very good. So yes, I'll refer to you as Mr. Confectioner from now on. How are you, Greg? How's your week been?
Good. I was able to catch I was messaging you about it through the week. I was able to catch the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert. It's on the streaming services over here. It's 5 hours long. So I was just watching it in installments with my daughter. But I was, how I messaged you the other night after watching Supergrass playing there, and I mentioned about how Danny clearly hasn't played the drums on stage for a while because he looked like he was absolutely blown out his arse by the time they'd finished like their third song.
Yeah,
it seemed to be a sort of common theme. So like the older drummers that turned up, like Roger Taylor from Queen, he seemed all right. He did 4 songs, but like the younger guys, like Rufus Taylor from The Darkness, like he sat in for a few Foo Fighters songs and he was fucked. And then what song? I think he did. What did he do? Maybe Monkey Wrench, perhaps. And he clearly thought they were finished. So he put his sticks down, and Dave Grohl just kept going. So he had to fucking pick him up and start playing again. But yeah, a lot of out of shape drummers. But it was really good. So I was surprised at some of the people that turned up to play. I'm glad they never went though. Standing in Wembley for 5 hours,
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered with that. No. Yeah. I saw a few clips online. It looked like a good event. Yeah, looked like a good concert. Yeah, I went to a concert myself this week. I went to see Delamitri in Amsterdam.
They're good?
Which was very good. Yeah, they were really good, actually. Yeah. I mean, Justin Curry's a miserable bastard, but it was good. I did enjoy. He didn't really speak much. I think it was like 4 or 5 songs in before he uttered like his first word, and It was just like, "Thanks for coming. I didn't really expect anyone to be here." So yeah, I mean, the place was packed, but I mean, it was only about 300. Maybe 400 people there. It was a small venue, but yeah, no, they were very good.
It's like a theatre or a...
No, it was like it is like a venue. And I did read his blog, actually, because I did exactly the same thing. I walked down the street and there was a massive queue. Mm-hmm. And I read his blog, and he'd been out to get something to eat. And I might have passed him in the street, actually. Yeah. And he said, I walked down to the venue and saw this huge line of 20-somethings queuing to get into the venue. And I thought, wow. And then I realised that there was another concert on at the same venue that evening. And it's been a long time since we've had 20-year-olds queuing up to see one of our gigs. I looked across and saw a much smaller line full of 40-year-olds waiting to get in, which was exactly what I did, because the first time I'd been to that venue, so I walked down the road and I was like, wow, the queue's massive. Mm-hmm. And then I realised it was for some dance thing. And there was a smaller line for Delamitri that was, as he says, full of 40, 50-year-olds. I mean, I'm 41 and I think I was one of the youngest people there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that the only thing he said was, so you guys couldn't get tickets for Rangers either tonight or something like that, because the same night they played Ajax, wasn't it?
It was, yes. Yes, it certainly was. You could have probably went to the game and then still managed to get to the gig in time if you'd rushed. But yeah, I don't know if many people would have done that. But yeah, so I think he did say in the blog as well, he went out for something to eat after the gig, and Guy had caught his accent and went, "Oh, are you here for the football?" Nice, no, I'm in a band.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm a Celtic fan.
I was going to say, yeah. No, I remember when I lived in Glasgow, I think I've mentioned before, my friend of mine, his mate is Mark Guidi, who used to be, might still be the chief sports writer for the Sunday Mail, and they would play fives. I played a couple of times with them, but I'm fucking rubbish at fives, just rubbish at sport, generally speaking. But I know that Justin Curry turned up a couple of times when they played at the Pits in the kind of East End. Yeah, he's not got a reputation as being a particularly warm, friendly guy. He does.
No. No, definitely not. I think I do follow him on Twitter, and he is quite miserable. And yeah, he's not the I'm not going to say the nicest guy, but the warmest, I would say, is what he said. Like I think if I had seen him in the street, I don't think I would have said, "Hey, Justin, how you doing?"
No,
I think I've probably got.
I have seen him.
Fuck off.
I did see him out in Glasgow a couple of times when I first moved there, but I didn't approach him. He's quite a small guy, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was rocking double denim on the stage, the denim jacket and jeans, same color. So that was
What did our
Canadian tuxedo?
That's right. Yeah. Oh dear. Well, so that's a busy week for you then. You've ventured out the house and
it was
went to a concert. Yeah.
It was, yeah, certainly was. Yeah, it was very exciting. So. Yeah, busy week for me, so at least I've got something to report.
Indeed.
I think that's all that's been going on this week, really, isn't it? There's not much exciting been happening.
Some old lady died that people seem to be quite fond of. But apart from that, it looks like they're getting a public holiday out of it. So every cloud, as they say.
Oh, well, on that bombshell, shall we have a look at what else has been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg. So, as we've said, obviously, there has been some rather big news from the UK this week. Big news from Scotland, I suppose, because obviously she passed away in Scotland. However, we're not going to bother about that today. We're going to be having a look at some of the lighter news stories that have happened in Scotland over the last couple of weeks. So, what have you seen first that you want to share with me and our listeners?
Well, both of my stories are restaurant-themed this week. My first one comes from the Daily Record, which is replete with black banners on the top of their website. It was from the 8th of September. The headline rather says, Scott's KFC customer horrified as rat's tail spotted hanging from the air vent. This was a tourist, obviously in town for catch the fag end of the fringe. Said a rat's tail was spotted hanging from an air vent in a Scott's KFC, leaving a hungry customer horrified. I mean, what does she think KFC put in their KFC anyway? Do you know what I mean? It's that much a surprise. The tourist, I'm obviously joking before anybody who works for KFC sets of lawyers on me. I'm sure they only use the best cuts of chicken. The tourist was visiting the restaurant on South St Andrews Street in Edinburgh city centre during the festival when they spotted the vermin. The disgusted customer was keen to highlight the animal was discovered 4 days before the bin strike started at around 3 p.m. on Sunday, August the 14th. As they tucked into their meal, their attention was quickly drawn to the ceiling in the lobby area, with the rat's tail dangling above them and fellow diners. As reported by Edinburgh Live, the customer, who wishes to remain anonymous, was left shocked that staff failed to take appropriate action to ensure health and safety of the public in the fast food chain. They said on this day, they didn't remove anybody eating down the stairs, breathing in the fumes, or the dead rat in the air vent. They just stopped people going down the stairs to see it. I'm not sure what fumes she's worried about. Following their experience, they subsequently raised the issue with KFC's online care team, first contacting them on August the 16th, but were left dissatisfied with their response. They said after a long back and forth, responded on August the 26th to say the manager has said the lobby is closed, which I believe is just the downstairs bit, as it had been open every day since. I'm not sure if it's open now, as I'm not in Edinburgh at the moment. When asked for comment in response to the claims, KFC said the pest control were called to the site immediately, but they did admit that this wasn't a great experience whilst adding that they refunded the customer's meal. A KFC spokesperson said, operating responsibly is our number one priority, and we have strict processes in place to ensure the quality and hygiene standards of all our restaurants. The team called in pest control immediately, who visited the restaurant, dealt with the issue, and checked all the procedures. But ultimately, this wasn't a great experience, and we never want to leave our guests disappointed, so we've already refunded their meal. So, case closed as far as KFC's customer service team are concerned. But look, I can tell you that in city centres, with the best will in the world, it's very difficult to keep the rats completely away. So, yeah.
The thing that surprises me most about that is that the woman complaining wanted to remain anonymous, because I thought she'd want to get free KFC for life or something, and or maybe she's consulting her solicitor and wants to wait until the end of that.
I'm sure she's not remained anonymous as far as KFC go. She probably just wants her name in the paper.
Yeah. Do you think when pest control came to deal with the problem that they just took out the air vent and chucked it in the fryer?
I mean, I have seen stories before about chicken nuggets with like dead mice kind of cooked into them and stuff like that. You know, that's why. Yeah. That's why I don't eat fast food. Although I do work in it, funnily enough. But not, well, my food's not as fast as KFC and McDonald's and stuff. But, you know, I mean, it's going to happen. I just think I don't know. I mean, the rat's probably dead because it's eating bait out of a bait trap and it's died up there. So I think if I was a customer in KFC and I saw a rat's tail hanging out of a vent like this woman did, and the rat was dead, I'd be like, oh well, they've obviously taken all the correct precautions to make sure they don't have live rats running around. I think you
wouldn't have thought that maybe the rat had a zinger burger or something and then had keeled over from cholesterol and
it's possible.
Massive heart attack.
Yeah, it's possible, yeah. I mean, we could only see the tail, but the rat could be like massive, you know, like it's full of bones of chicken. And I don't know, what are KFC famous for? Is it still like their buckets of chicken? I know they're famous for chicken, but obviously, but see, I never go, but I guess like they're famous for their big buckets of chicken, right?
I guess so. I've never had a KFC in my life.
I mean,
so I've never. Really? I went off fast food a long time ago. Like I'll never ever have McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Pizza Hut, nothing like that. I will have, maybe slightly hypocritical, we've got a Domino's at the end of our road, and I'll have one of those occasionally because they do a vegan pepperoni pizza that is fucking incredible. Right. Because that was the one thing I used to love, a pepperoni pizza. Mm-hmm. And when I went vegetarian, that's one of the few things I really missed. Right. And they do an incredible vegan pepperoni. So I have had that a couple of times. But yeah, I've never had a KFC. I think because there wasn't really one in Aberdeen.
There was one next to the music hall.
And then
on Union Street.
Yeah.
Still there. Not past it.
I don't know, when did that appear? Maybe it had before I left. I don't know.
It's been there for
a long time.
It's been there as long as I can remember. My presiding memory of that KFC was I can't remember where I'd been. I might have been at the music hall. I remember that I'd had a lot to drink and I was pretty buckled. And whoever I was with, I think my ex-girlfriend at the time, she suggested that we dive into KFC and get something to eat. And I accidentally put sugar on my chips instead of salt. I just ate them anyway. I was too embarrassed to go back and ask. Well, I didn't actually think that they would give me more chips because I'd kind of fucked them up myself. But yeah. That's probably the last time I was in KFC, and that would have been like 25 years ago, maybe longer.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just never drawn to a KFC.
Yeah. You're not missing anything.
So yeah, I'm not sure why. No, I don't think so. Well, dead rats, apparently.
Well, yeah. In my opinion, you're not missing anything. I don't want to trigger anybody, because I know that they're obviously popular. People like them. But I don't.
I think I was always put off, maybe because I am a big Seinfeld fan. And of course, there is that episode with the Kenny Rogers roasters that opens up on the block and Kramer gets addicted to the chicken. That's the big red sign in his window. Maybe that always subconsciously put me off KFC. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe. So that was my first story. What's your first story this week, Nikki?
Okay, so I'm going to go from one vermin to another, Greg. And this is from the Daily Record. This is from last week. And it's about a Scots woman terrorised by squirrels in her loft, fear that the rowdy rodents will burn her house down. So this is a Scots woman who's been terrorised by squirrels and has been having sleepless nights for 2 years, and she fears they're a fire hazard. Denise Stronach from East Kilbride says she's being forced out of her home by the rowdy rodents who live in her loft and keep her awake of all hours in the morning. The 57-year-old has reported the issue to our local councillor, who undertook work, but the pesky squirrels remain. So far, the pests have chewed through 2 TV cables, and Denise fears that this could cause a blaze at her home. Speaking to the Record, she said, "These squirrels are driving me crazy. It's like someone is playing 10-pin bowling above my head. They're absolutely horrific, and I can't even imagine the damage they've done to my loft. I've been through 2 televisions because they keep chewing through the cable. I've been having sleepless nights because of them, and I can't even eat. It's really affecting my health. The longer I'm out of the house, the better. I'm usually out early in the morning and then go back late because of them. I'm fed up, and I'm scared that they might start a fire." Denise first noticed this infestation 2 years ago and believes the squirrels managed to get in through her roof. She is still grieving the loss of her father, sorry about that, Denise, and helping her mother, who doesn't keep well. So the constant noise and inability to sleep has placed a further strain on her own health. She estimates there are around 12 squirrels living in her loft, but they also go out into her garden as well. The council have fitted netting, blocked up holes in the boarding and filled cement in the chimney area, and they said that Environmental Health have been sent out to remove the squirrels, but claim no one was at home for them to get access to the property. Pest Control UK warns that when squirrels enter a loft space, they can cause structural damage by tearing up loft insulation or bedding. Denise is desperate for the squirrels to be removed and all damage to be repaired. A spokesman for the council said that in response to our early contact with Ms Stronach on the matter, the council's serviceman has taken out repairs to block up holes with the fascia board. Since then, there have been no further reports or issues of the squirrels from Mrs Stronach. So, my question would be, do we think she has squirrels in her loft, or do we think she has Mogwai? Because she thinks that they're playing 10-pin bowling up there, and they might set a fire. Now, we know how pesky Mogwai can be.
Yep.
Not the band, obviously, the famous Scottish band. The little gizmo, fluffy gremlins. Yeah. So that's poor Denise. She's got a lot of squirrel problems.
I mean, what? So are they coming down from the loft and chewing through her wires to knacker her TVs?
I guess they must be. I mean, she's been through 2 TVs. Could she not just replace the wires? Yeah. It sounds like they are, because I don't think she's got a TV in the loft. But how are they getting down from the loft? I guess maybe they're going through the walls or something. I've no idea. Yeah. I mean, my dad's house, he would sometimes get squirrels in his loft, occasionally, but he would just go up and dispatch them himself. So he would, as you can imagine, with extreme prejudice. It's like because it's the grey squirrels, right? Like everybody's fine if it's the proper squirrels, the nice little browny orangey ones, but the grey squirrels are largely considered to be bastards by squirrel experts, and they apparently have killed they kill the nice orangey squirrels, the grey silvery ones. Don't know why. Yes, apparently the red squirrels are the nice ones, and they're all cute and lovely. But yeah, the grey squirrels are the. But
I wonder why. I wonder what
genocidal.
I wonder what compels the grey squirrels to go about murdering the red squirrels. It's some sort of.
Well, Greg, I mean, that's a very philosophical question that you've just raised there. I mean, in terms of the human race, for example. I think maybe this is a light-hearted podcast. We should maybe not delve too much into any racial tension of what's human genocide.
Racist squirrels.
I don't know.
You think the great?
Do you think that Denise would be okay if it was red squirrels in her loft, or do you think she's annoyed?
I mean, I'd have to check this. Red squirrels might be protected, so if she had red squirrels in her loft, she's fucked. We had bats. I think I mentioned on the podcast before, like in our house in Dubai, we had bats living in the sort of space. There's a sort of gap above the sliding patio door and the wall, because it was just basically the whoever bought the door, it was too small for the hole they'd cut for it, and it was, so there was bat shit all over the windows. We would see them like flying out at night and stuff like that, and we thought we're gonna have to do something about it. So we spoke to the landlord, and he sent some guys along during the day, and I said, how are you going to get them out? And they produced a metal rod and those sticky boards that they use to catch mice, you know what I mean, and rats. And they just basically swept them out onto the sticky boards. I was horrified.
Wow.
And they were going to just chuck them in my bin. I was like, you can't chuck them in my bin. My fucking daughters might see them. Take them away. I don't want fucking decomposing bats in my bin. Fucking traumatic. It was fucking traumatic enough watching how they took them out how they had taken them out of that hole. So, but I was talking to somebody back home about it, and they said that bats are protected in Scotland. So if you've got So I think if you've got like a protected species that's like invaded your house, I think you're fucked. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
You just got to put up with it. So
I guess rats aren't protected in KFCs though, so that's
no,
good for our previous news story.
Yeah. I don't think rats have any problems. I don't think they're like there's not like different colour rats that are fucking doing in all the brown rats. You know what I mean? These little clan rats that are turning up at the brown hats nests.
Never know.
Brown hats.
Maybe been trained by Splinter.
Yeah.
Trained the turtles, so now he's training his own little army of rats
Yeah.
to take over the KFCs. Maybe that's it, because the turtles like pizza, so maybe the rats like KFC.
Speaking of turtles, I don't know if you've seen. Do you remember the old Turtles arcade game? There was two. There was the original one, and there was Turtles in Time. They've just been re-released.
Yeah,
you can buy them, but there's also
the Cowabunga collection.
Yep, but there's a brand new game that's come out, which is in the style of those games.
Shredder's Revenge.
That's the one. Yeah. I'm tempted to download. Well, I'm not tempted to. When it comes down in price, I'm going to download it onto my daughter's Switch. It's a good. It's a good toilet game, you know.
Lovely stuff. Well, maybe Denise can download that and she can play Shredder's Revenge and the Cowabunga collection with her squirrels. Oh, well, maybe have to get a new TV because she's gone through 2 TVs since because of the squirrels.
If she buys a Switch, she won't need a TV. She can go anywhere. That's like its unique selling point.
There you go, Denise. There you go. There's some advice there for you from Greg. Get a Switch. You don't need a TV. Yeah. And maybe the squirrels can play. If you get 2 controllers, then maybe they can sit in the loft and you can play Mario Kart together.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope you get rid of your squirrels, Denise, and just remember, squirrels aren't just for Christmas, they're for life, unlike Mogwai. Okay, what else have you seen this week, Greg?
Well, as I mentioned, my second story is also a restaurant story. The strapline is A Dog's Dinner. A plush Scots restaurant hits back after a diner says meal was ruined because dogs are allowed in. So this is Gaucho, a steak restaurant in Edinburgh, in St Andrews Square. They tell their customers that all their restaurants are dog friendly. Diners can enjoy a meal with their canine companions as long as the dogs are clean, well behaved, and kept on leads. The eatery is generally well liked and enjoyed by punters, but bosses found one customer was not a fan of their pro-pooch policy. I bet you that reporter was fucking well pleased with himself when he came up with that one. Pro-pooch policy. Leaving a 2-star out of 5 review on TripAdvisor, they complained about their food and hit out at the dogs in the restaurant, saying the animals barking is, quote, not ideal. There's also claims they were put off their meals by animals, quote, sniffing each other's arses, unquote. The review read, for a fine dining Argentinian steakhouse, I can't say the steak I got was seasoned well and lacked in flavour, but it was cooked to perfection, however. I'm not sure I agree with dogs being allowed in a fine dining restaurant either. 3 dogs barking and sniffing each other's arses while I'm trying to eat a steak. Not a really pleasant experience. But bosses hit back at the review, saying their dog's welcome policy is clearly posted as guests come in, and they also said allowing dogs in is a hit with other diners. A manager replied, our Gaucho restaurants are very dog-friendly environments. We have a sticker on the Edinburgh door saying we are so. An insert.
I was going to say.
An insert on the An insert on the outside A-board, and it's also mentioned on our website. We get a lot of positive reviews regarding our dog-friendly policy, our pro-pooch policy. Sorry yours couldn't be one of those. I'm glad to hear your steak was cooked to perfection. The restaurant's website lists out a set of rules for any punters bringing in their dogs. These include dogs only being allowed in the main part of the restaurant. They must not be left unattended, only 1 dog per person. They are not allowed in the furniture, and no aggressive dogs are allowed. Managers have the discretion to ask owners to leave if their dog is misbehaving, barking, or if the owner isn't in control. So we know that obviously we've spoken before on the podcast. You are a sort of reformed dog lover. Do you take any restaurants in Amsterdam? You take Bobby out to for?
Yeah, we've taken Bobby to a couple of restaurants.
Yeah.
Not inside,
Right.
I would say. It's outside. So we'd always we'll sit outside.
Yeah.
And sit with him on the bench or something. But yeah, I wouldn't take him into a restaurant.
Is he well behaved?
He is outside, yeah. He'll sit under the table. But I think I'd fear taking him into a restaurant because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's quite busy.
Yeah.
He might be a bit nervous of all the activity. I'd also be more worried about someone coming up to try and touch him or pet him because he doesn't like strangers.
Yeah.
So could lead to a bit of an issue. But yeah, I agree. If you've got a small little well-behaved dog, I don't see anything wrong with taking it into a restaurant if it's clean and just sits under the table and doesn't bother anyone. But yeah, I can maybe see an issue if you've got like 20 dogs running around all sniffing each other's arses and playing and chasing bread rolls and stuff, then that could be a slight issue. But I don't see a massive problem. It wouldn't put me off. The only thing that maybe has put me off is maybe at a restaurant if cats are there because I'm allergic. So I can feel my eyes getting itchy and when, if there's one nearby. But then I wouldn't, I'd never go to a cat cafe or something because, well,
you're allergic.
It'd be a nightmare. And also I don't like cats. So that would be quite an issue for me. I don't see a massive issue with this, but I can see how some people would be offended and it might put them off their meal. But the steak was cooked to perfection, so what's the issue?
I know. The cat thing is, whenever you go on holiday to places like Spain or Greece, if you're sitting out eating, it's always loads of stray cats, right? And they're all, and I guess they know where to get fed, because they always turn up. And my daughters, we've got 2 cats. My daughters absolutely fucking love cats. I don't hate them. I can take them or leave them, put it that way. I'd prefer to leave them. But anyway, they were watching a program that was on Netflix called Inside the Mind of a Cat. And the only reason that cats meow like they do is to get human beings to fucking give them stuff. That's a fact. Like, they've evolved that meow to get women, mainly, to feed them.
Sweeping generalization.
Well, how many guys do you know that live on their own and have a couple of cats, or even a cat? Do you know anybody?
Our mutual friend did for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Well, no, did he? No, he was married though when he had the cats.
Yeah, but he had a cat before that.
Did he? Oh, I think he did actually, yeah. Yeah. What happened to that cat, I wonder? He just stopped talking about it, didn't he? Like it did itself in.
Probably.
It saw something it wasn't meant to see.
Traumatized for life. No, you're right though. Yeah, I guess I don't really know many solo males that have a cat.
Well, I don't know. I think if you want to let dogs in, I mean, if it's obviously been advertised and this guy just maybe hasn't realised or thought he'd be fine with it, and then turns out that he wasn't. So
yeah, I don't think you can complain if it's clearly on the door that it's a dog-friendly restaurant or dogs are encouraged, then you can't really complain about going there and saying, I'm not going to go to a steak restaurant and complain about the amount of vegetarian options that they have on the menu. So you kind of have to pick and choose your dining venue by what it is you're looking for.
Exactly. There's some good advice from the Culture Swally.
There you go.
Choose your restaurant based on what it is you want to have to eat. Anyway, okay, that's my second and final story of this week. What have you got for your next one? Right,
I'm going to completely lower the tone here, Greg. So just if you're of a sensitive nature or if you're under 18, then I'd suggest you maybe don't listen to this next part because I'm going to be talking about the Pornhub habits that have been revealed as Scots enjoy a very unique fetish more than other Brits. This is from the Scottish Sun this week, and it was printed on, I think on the day that we lost our beloved Queen, so it's what she would have wanted. And I wonder if she was Googling this when she was in Balmoral, actually. Randy Scots have very unique tastes when it comes to watching porn. The country's dirty secrets have been revealed by the world's biggest adult site, Pornhub, who know exactly what gets people going. Relative searches indicate what locals are more likely to type into the search box compared to their neighbours. And stats from the webpage giants reveal visitors from Scotland are 55% more likely to search for pegging than those elsewhere in the country. Scots are also 140% more likely to view solo male videos than the rest of Britain. Relative categories are based on 100 plus specified genres. Would you know that, Greg? Pornhub, 100 genres. I mean, I've never been on that website, so I don't know. But 100 categories that the videos are filtered into. The same categories are available in every part of the world, even when translated into the local lingo. The categories show the type of porn being watched by visitors who navigate the directories and watch the recommended content. It's got a little breakdown of some of the other areas. So visitors from the northeast are 171% more likely to search for chav. So obviously they're wanting to watch chav porn. The northwest are 73% more likely into chubby porn.
Right.
And East Midlands have a 77% rating for BBW. Is that Big Beautiful Women, I think?
Yeah,
Is
I think
it?
so.
I don't know, yeah? Yeah, I think so, yeah. Visitors from Greater London are 223% more likely to search for Turkish compared to the rest of the UK, while those in the West Midlands are 136% more likely into Indian.
Right.
Now, get this. Northern Ireland watches 149% more smoking-related porn videos.
Really?
Yeah. And those from Wales are 114% more into cosplay videos.
Oh.
Meanwhile, now, here we go, Greg. Scottish Sun, article on Pornhub. Who do you think they've got to talk about this?
Is what's her name? Lana Wolf?
Yes, there we go. Meanwhile, Rangers' daft porn star Lana Wolf told of her joy after scooping a top industry award. The adult model triumphed when she won a gong at the Premium Social Media Star of the Year category at the XBiz Europa Awards in Berlin at the weekend. This is the adult industry's biggest night in Europe.
Wow.
And it's held with XBiz Berlin, the adult industry's premier international conference. Who knew, Greg? Yeah, it's like, I guess it's like Comic-Con for porn. And Lana gave a shout. I mean, Comic-Con's got a lot of porn, really, to be honest. Well, the Welsh are into their cosplay, so that'll be why. She gave a shout out to her beloved Gers as she picked up the gong in Germany. She said, "I feel like I've got Scotland on my side tonight. Thank you, Scotland. Thank you, Glasgow. Thank you, the blue side of Glasgow. Rangers till they died. We are the people."
Rangers
she said Rangers till I.
Oh, right.
She said Rangers till I die. I just put that little bit in there. So yeah, there you go, Greg. So Scotland is right into their pegging.
Right. I mean, I'm not really sure what pegging is, if I'm honest. I mean, do you want to explain it for the benefit of listeners that might not have seen porn before?
No, I don't want to explain what it is, but Google it yourself. Are you being serious? You don't know what pegging is, or no? You do know what pegging is.
I think I know what I think I know what it is.
Yes,
it doesn't sound like something I would be into, but yeah, I think I know what it is. BBW. Would you say it was Big Beautiful Women?
Yeah, is that it? Or no? What is it? Or big breasted women? Or
Bobby Balls Willie?
You don't know. You don't know. I'm not going to make you search for that in
Dubai.
In the Middle East. So you know what? I'm going to take one for the team.
Okay.
What is BBW? We know what pegging is, but we don't know what BBW. It's Big Beautiful Women.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So not Bobby Balls Willie then. No.
No, not Bobby Balls Willie. No, Greg. I don't know how many hits you'd get for that on Pornhub. Bobby Balls Willie. Well, but maybe Balls and Willie. I don't know. That's quite a niche. Bobby. That's, Bobby. How are you spelling Bobby? B-O-A-B-Y?
Bobby
Balls and
B-O-B-B,
Willie.
Yeah.
I know what you meant with Bobby Ball, but I'm
okay.
thinking more Bobby, Balls and Willie to keep the Scottish slang on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do you think about the Welsh being in a cosplay then? Eh?
Well, they're quite dramatically Welsh, aren't they? That's what I get it. I know a few Welsh people. So, like, the sort of geo-mapping then of these sort of porn preferences with the pegging, was there a particularly sort of hot spot around sort of Aberdeen, West Hill kind of area?
I don't have that data,
Right.
I'm afraid. It's just split it up into regionally. So as a lot of these surveys will just class Scotland as one region.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
Doesn't
I'll
go
have
that
to maybe look
doesn't go that deep.
Doesn't go. The pegging doesn't go that deep in the Aberdeenshire or West Hill area. Right. And also solo male. So I guess there's quite a lot of females, or
just guys having a wank, is it? I guess.
I guess so. I don't know.
No
idea.
It might explain why there's such a rash of people masturbating in public in Scotland over the last couple of years.
Could be.
And we've covered extensively in the Swally.
I guess we won't know. I'm not going to be searching that. So I'm not sure. So yeah, and who knew that the Irish were so big into their smoking that they like watching people naked smoking?
I know. Weird.
Don't know. There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well.
On that bombshell. So I think that covers the news for this week. I'd say apologies to our listeners. I think we did quite well, Greg, but it was quite slim pickings because this week has been kind of dominated by a particular news story in the UK and Scotland. Yeah. So there hasn't been a huge amount of funny tales coming from the press. I think hopefully we'll get a barrage of them shortly because they've been holding on to a few of them because I think they're kind of shying away from printing anything that's humorous at the moment because they feel that it might offend someone.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was doing the housework yesterday and I had Absolute Radio on and they were just playing music. There wasn't really any chat in between. There would be the occasional bit of chat to explain why they're just playing music and they don't have the usual DJs and stuff on. So yeah, I guess it'll feel a bit strange. I don't imagine many people in the UK remember a different person sitting on the throne before now. So I guess it'll be a bit weird. If I'm honest, I'm quite glad that I'm well away from it. Although Dubai is very much leaping on the bandwagon and they declared a 3-day mourning period. But that seems to have meant that they just have the flags at half-mast everywhere. And your favourite DJ, Catboy, my wife told me, was getting all emotional on his radio, his afternoon show the other day. She was listening to him and she was driving home from work. And she said Catboy was close to tears today when he was talking about the Queen. Poor old Catboy.
Oh, I don't say this lightly, Greg. What a fucking twat.
Yeah, he is a twat.
So, anyway... Twat boy. Okay, well, I'm very sorry that he's upset. I think he should get a fucking life. Anyway, okay then. Right, well, I guess that covers the news for this week. So before we go on to what we're going to be talking about this week, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
Whether you're moving something large or small, let Shore Porters move it. Whether it's your home or your office, let Shore Porters move it. Locally, nationally or worldwide, you can rely on Shore Porters' experience. Phone Aberdeen 589 381 for a quote. It's the best move you'll ever make.
Okay, Greg, so it was your choice of what we're going to be talking about on the Swally today. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about on the Swally today?
Okay, so I chose 2021's BritBox original. And for the overseas listeners who perhaps aren't familiar with BritBox, it's a streaming service of the best British classic drama and comedy. But this is an original production for them, and it's Irvine Welsh's Crime, loosely based on Irvine Welsh's book of the same name. It sort of extrapolates the backstory, I guess, from the book. Stars Dougray Scott, given an absolute powerhouse performance as D.I. Ray Lennox on the hunt for a serial killer and sex. What was his? I guess a paedophile, right?
Child abductor.
Yeah,
child abductor. A fucking nonce.
It also stars Ken Stott, Jamie Sives, who is just a joy every time he appears on the screen. It's 6 episodes. I think we're getting another series next year. I think it's been quite successful, despite the fact that I think as far as streaming services go, I would imagine BritBox is one of the more common ones. So obviously you and I are big fans of Irvine Welsh. He released a book almost 2 weeks ago now called The Long Knives, which has a lot of the characters that feature in crime in it. So it was quite a good moment to choose this. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think anything Irvine Welsh related obviously is going to hold a special place for us. And I think whenever, it's one of the things that you and I kind of bonded over as well, is our love for Irvine Welsh all those years ago.
Yeah.
And I think whenever something Irvine Welsh related comes out, whether it's the announcement of Crime, for example, being made into a TV adaptation, or whenever one of us hears that he's got a new book coming out, my first thought is, you fucking dancer. My second thought is, I need to send this to Greg.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably the same,
Yeah.
vice versa. And I actually checked back in our chat, and it was you that told me about this TV adaptation coming out. And my response was, oh, wow, I didn't realise this was happening. Crime, obviously, in fact, as you've said, Irvine Welsh has a new book out, The Long Knives, which is kind of a sequel to Crime. Mm-hmm. I think this is the longest I've gone without reading an Irvine Welsh book that's come out, if that makes sense. Because it's been out for a couple of weeks. Haven't read it yet. I've got a train journey for like 6 hours later this week. I'm going to devour it on that, I think.
Yeah.
I remember really enjoying Crime when it first came out and thinking it was a good book. And I reread it about 3 years ago. And again, enjoyed it a bit, because I have this strange thing with Irvine Welsh. When I read a book by another author, let's say I'm reading a Stuart McBride book, I have to have like a palate cleanser in between reading another Stuart McBride book.
Yeah.
I can't. I need to have something else. I need to go and read something else.
Yeah.
Irvine Welsh is probably the only author that whenever I finish his new book, and I know when I finish his latest book, I need to read another Irvine Welsh book.
Right.
And it's something about just getting into that language and into the psyche and into the way he has just such a way with words. I have to read something else. So I've already decided that when I finish The Long Knives, I'm going to reread A Decent Ride, because I haven't read that for a long time. So I think I'd reread Filth, and then I reread Crime about 3 years ago. And I really enjoyed the book because I do like the character of Ray Lennox. Mm-hmm. However, all that's backstory. What did I think of this adaptation? Obviously, I was a bit disappointed when I realised it wasn't true to the book, so to speak. But however, it is in a way, because I think it's like the first 20 pages of Crime is focused on Ray Lennox. He's had a mental breakdown after being like a cocaine and drug binge, trying to catch this nonce. Mm-hmm. And it's broken him. And that's exactly what this is. It's the prequel to that, effectively. And then him and Trudy, his fiancée, go off to Florida on holiday, and that's when he gets tangled up in this other child abduction case in Florida. Yeah. So, as you've said, it's kind of a prequel. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Because, first of all, it's Scottish, set in Edinburgh. It's, beautiful parts of the city. There's some absolute stellar performances in this from Dougray Scott. Yeah. From Jamie Sives, from Ken Stott. There's some John Sim as well. There's some really good performances in this show. I did think it was maybe a little bit too long. I think you could have gotten away with maybe a 4-part episode. I think there was a few plot lines that I thought it's not really a need for this. Yeah. Couple of things that were a bit drawn out, and I felt they were filling for gaps, because there was one storyline in particular that was wrapped up in series episode 3. So then they introduced another story arc to get them through episodes 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Just fucking delete the whole thing and just make it like 4 episodes. It'd be a bit more condensed, a bit more enjoyable. That's not to take anything away from it, though. I thought it was a really good show. It had me gripped. It had me in stitches at many points, mostly because of Jamie Sives. Yeah. The wonderful Dougie Gilman, or Douglas Gilman, as we will maybe call him later. But yeah, I'd have to say I did really enjoy this show. I mean, I devoured it quite quickly because I thought it was so good. What about yourself? What were your thoughts on Crime?
Much the same as yours, I think. I think the first sort of 3 episodes are brilliant, like fly by. I think it does slow down a little bit, as it goes on. Welsh has written this with Dean Kavanagh. It's for those of us who know Irvine Welsh's work quite well. A lot of his sort of hallmarks, if you like, are there. For better or worse in some cases. Like the dialogue is very, very true to life and very, very funny. That sort of gallows Scottish humour is all over the place. But yeah, the storyline with the French couple and the French policeman coming over, I thought that would get tied in to the whole confectioner thing later on, and it didn't. And then Trudy's sort of subplot, like Ray's girlfriends with the bullying at work, although it does kind of culminate in one of the best headbutts I've ever seen in my life. I was kind of like, well, I don't really, and again, I thought that was going to tie in somewhere with Ray's case, and the stuff about Ray's mum having the affair and everything like that. It's just kind of, it was a bit soapy, I thought, you know what I mean? Like, in some cases. It didn't feel like it was going to be a sort of 6-episode kind of thriller. It felt like they were kind of building a bit of a universe, which maybe they are. I mean, maybe they are doing that, and maybe we're going to see more of Irvine Welsh's work kind of being adapted in the same way and being tied in. I know that they're trying to make Skag Boys into a TV show. I know he's mentioned that a few times in interviews that's something that he wants to try and do. And I think there's even been talk of doing a Trainspotting TV show as well, where getting more into more detail with the characters and the stories and things. So maybe that's why there's all these sort of kind of tangents in this one.
Yeah, I listened to an interview with him and Dougray Scott promoting Crime. So it was from a year ago, and he did say that the next project he'd probably be focusing on TV-wise would be The Blade Artist.
Right, okay.
Which is something he wants to do. But he did also say it's a couple of years away yet, because and I listened to another interview with Colin Murray, and he says he writes the book, finishes the book, and it takes like a year for the book to come out. He has to do like a book tour and speak about it. He's fucking sick of it. Yeah. So he's like, I need to leave it for like 5 years or so before I can even look at it again. And that's the thing with like The Blade Artist. It's only, she says it only came out a few years ago. Yeah. So I need to leave that for a while. So it'll be a couple of years before we can develop that. And that's why I think Crime took, was it 2008? The book came out. Yeah. And the TV show itself was in development for nearly 10 years from when they initially decided to come up with the idea. So the way Welsh and Scott say, they were at a Hibs do about 10 years ago and met each other and had the usual kind of schmoozy chat, and Scott had said to Welsh, you're my favourite author, and Welsh says, oh, well, I think you're a great actor. We should do something together at one point. And Dougray Scott had just read Crime and said, I'd love to do something like this. And so I think it took a little bit of time. I guess Welsh had probably at that time thought, yeah, it's a bit too soon. It's a bit too close. Yeah. Let's just wait. And so I think it was maybe about 5 years ago, things started ramping up. And of course, Dougray Scott's production company is heavily involved in this. So that's why he was so invested in this role and in the show. And it took a little bit of time, and of course COVID would have hit, and I think that was maybe why I think the initial idea was for them to do the actual Book of Crime and go off to Florida. Yeah. But they said, budget constrictions and of course the COVID, so it meant that they were quite restricted in what they had to do. But I think they've done well in terms of the show. But I agree with you. I think I could have done without the Trudy plot line with her work. However, I can see that if the whole show is just Lennox and Drummond chasing Mr. Confectioner, you need something else to break up the story a little bit and have a little bit of light relief, or have something else that you can focus on. But I think the case with the French man would have been, the French couple, would have been ideal to have that, because then you've got the interaction there with Gilman and Louis. Even the part with his mum and dad, I can see where that goes, because that's Ray effectively opening up on his demons of, his dad having a heart attack at the football, and that kind of being a catalyst for things. And I could see why they've introduced that storyline. The only reason I can think about the Trudy part is because to show that she has her own things going on as well. And when she shouts at Ray about, I've got problems as well. Yeah. And of course, Ray shouts back, I'm trying to chase a pedo here, this isn't the fucking gas board. Yeah. It kind of highlights the difference in their work. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I thought I could have done without too many tangents and places they shoot off to.
What I will say about Dougray Scott in this, he is absolutely brilliant. He's I've not seen him in a lot of stuff of late. I know he made the Batwoman show in the US, and he got a bit of that Ruby Rose complained about him after she left, saying that he was a bully and all that. But then everybody else worked in the show was like, he's absolutely sound. It's you. You're the prick. And but because famously he missed out on the role of Wolverine to what's his name, Hugh Jackman, because Mission Impossible 2 ran longer than scheduled and he wasn't able to do it. And you have to wonder what way would his career have gone had he he got that big part after Mission Impossible? You know, who knows?
It's a huge thing because Mission Impossible 2 was massive, and obviously Wolverine made Hugh Jackman's career effectively.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
Not the first time not the only time Scott was missed out, I think, on a massive role. I read that he turned down the part of Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah, I heard that as well, I think, yeah.
And I also read an interview from him a few years ago. And okay, it's not, I don't know how far down the line it was, but just before Die Another Day, the James Bond film, Brosnan wasn't sure if he was going to do it.
Right.
And apparently Barbara Broccoli approached Dougray Scott to ask him if he'd be interested to play Bond. And then Brosnan decided, I'll do one more. And then by that point, after then, a few years later, Daniel Craig had kind of come on, he'd done Layer Cake, and he became the favourite. Dougray Scott would have been a pretty fucking good Bond, I think, back in the day. He's a Connery kind of mould. He would have been good. But back in the early 2000s, which is when we're talking about.
Yeah, because he's got the sort of dark good looks and quite a big fella, but not like a sort of Schwarzenegger big, but sort of broad shoulders and stuff. Yeah, he looks sort of similar sort of build to Daniel Craig, and I guess they're probably around about the same age as well. I mean, again, I sort of keep coming back to the fact that it got such a limited release through this BritBox, because he is going for it. You know what I mean? He's absolutely going for it. I think he's particularly good in the early episodes where he's really sort of fighting the urge to have a drink and, buy drugs and everything. And he keeps having these little flashes of what he'd be doing if he was doing it. You know what I mean? And you're never sure at first if he fallen off the wagon, and then it comes back to him and you're like, oh, it's just a fantasy. He's holding it together. And the scenes where he is at the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings as well, they're so good. And I think, just generally speaking, and maybe this is one of the sort of strengths of doing a kind of a sort of more limited release, is the Edinburgh accents are just all in. There's no softening. There's no softening anything. They don't feel a need to put a lot of exposition in for some of the more, shall we say, kind of Scottish kind of quirks that are there.
Oh, completely. I mean, almost every sentence comes out of Scott's mouth ends in,
I know.
We do that, Which also made me wonder, and not to go off on another tangent, but of course, the Canadians are quite famous for, what's it all about, They obviously got that from Edinburgh, from our, from Scotland.
Definitely.
So it crossed my mind when watching that. But yeah, they don't shy away with the accents in this at all.
So we find out the kind of broad story. The series begins with the abduction of a young girl, a young teenage girl, and we learn through through Ray Lennox's investigations that he historically had investigated a rash of child abductions and murders supposedly committed by a serial killer called the Confectioner, who we believe is in jail, although Ray Lennox has never felt that the person who is in jail for the crimes was the actual culprit. We also learn that Ray has been abused himself in the past with his best mate, Bobby the barman. Still game. And as you mentioned, he's fighting a crippling addiction. He's on the verge of a nervous breakdown through the whole show. He's passionately, he's sort of emotionally invested in the case. He's sort of struggling to keep the kind of professional separation there. And he's also accompanied by the lovely Amanda Drummond, who, as a character, we've seen before, because she's in Filth. But here she's played by the excellent Joanna Vanderham. I thought she was really good. I'd never seen her in anything before.
No, me neither. And I thought she was fantastic. Her character, as much as Ray Lennox goes on a journey, you can see Drummond going on a journey as well.
Yeah.
From the first time you see her, she finds out she's getting paired with Ray, and she is almost like, oh, fuck, no. Not this guy. And some of the scenes between the two of them when they're just having a little bit of banter are so good. And the real interaction, she softens to him. And she's she's a good, well-rounded character. You know, the way she stands up to Doogie Gilman in the restaurant and things. And later on, of course, the way she stands up to her ex-boyfriend, which is, she has a whole range, and she does a really good sympathetic face, but also suspicious face. Her facial expressions are brilliant in this. You know exactly what she's thinking. And that's not because I was looking at her probably the whole time she was on screen, because obviously she's a very, gorgeous, very attractive woman. Yeah. But yeah, she delivers such a good performance, and you're really rooting for her and Ray as a team. And honestly, I've never seen her in anything, and she was so good in this. Absolutely brilliant.
As you say, she sort of starts out, I guess, like a sort of modern kind of police lady. You know, she's she's kind of progressive, and I guess Lennox is a bit more sort of old school. A bit like Doogie, but maybe not quite as old school as Doogie Gilman. You know, as she comes to understand him and understand why he's so driven, like to go above and beyond to find this guy and this girl and stuff. And, you know, there's a sort of hardening of her. You know, like the scene in the restaurant when they go to arrest the French guy, and you know, I think he sticks the head on her, doesn't he, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you see the kind of physical side of her as she gets stuck in, you know?
Yeah, I like that, because, he headbutts her, and then as he's running away, she's the one that throws the pan of boiling potatoes over him. Stops him. So you're like, yes, come on. That was she really does go on a really good journey, I think, as a character. And I was really happy to see the progression and to see the relationship between her and Ray. They obviously care about each other. And I think is it maybe in episode 2 when she says about, okay, stop mansplaining to me, like talk to me like you talk to Ginger. And he just turns around and he's like, right, let's get to the bar. Who's around is like, you fat cunt, or something like that. And she breaks out in a smile, which is good, because you would think Amanda Drummond, that would maybe seen in Filth, would be horrified by that. And so I think it's a good progression of the character. And really well-rounded. Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing her and Ray on screen together and interacting. And of course, the things when they go to the old paedophile's house and she's standing on his oxygen tube when he's not given the info, and that's the kind of pushing the boundary. Ray's rubbing off on her the more time they spend together, which is beautiful to see. Yeah,
and they have, you know, when he's starting to realise that he's losing control of his urges to drink and drug and things, and you know, when she mentions about how she had been in therapy, and he asks, he asks her for the details of Laura Fraser, as it turns out, who plays the doctor. I mean, I think, you know, the character that exists in Filth in the movie, I think, just as another hurdle for Bruce, another challenge for Bruce Robertson. And I thought Imogen Poots is good as Amanda Drummond, but just, you know, like to your point, she doesn't really have an awful lot to do in the film.
No.
Although there is that good scene when she tries to sort of help Bruce when he's having a bit of a breakdown on the stairs in the police station. But she's really, really good. Joanna Vanderham, I'm sure we'll be seeing her a lot more coming up.
To tie in a couple of points talking about, you were saying Dougray Scott's acting before he starts to go off the rails in the last few episodes. And as you say, it's a couple of beautiful moments where he goes into the pub, for example, and he orders a pint of lager and a whiskey. And then he does his little mantra of reciting ex-Hearts players and stuff that he obviously tried to talk him out of drinking. And I thought it was great. You see the pint and Nip sitting there. He's gone. And see him do that a couple of times. And it's when him and Drummond are in the restaurant and he pours himself a glass of wine from the bottle. Mm-hmm. And she says, "Oh, I thought you weren't drinking." And he's, "Oh, no, just one."
Yeah.
So had she ordered that whole bottle of wine for herself?
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're on duty. They're just having a bit of lunch. So she's ordered a whole bottle of wine to have with her lunch. I mean, neither of them drink any of it, but it was just a point that I wondered, like, that's a bit of a strange thing for her to have. Anyway, just wondered about that.
Did he buy the wine or did she buy it?
No, because she's got a glass of wine poured and the bottle's on the table and they're talking. But he's got a glass in front of him, and you see him looking, and then he's like, fuck it. And he picks it up and starts pouring it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't drink any of it because Gilman and Louis come into the pub.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a few times where he just buys the drink and looks at it and then leaves it. I think one of the first scenes when he goes into a bar, he orders a pint and just sticks it on and a whiskey and just stands looking at it, and then his phone goes and he disappears.
Yeah, a few times. So I thought that was good. That's kind of the way that he obviously tries to get through things, but of course he goes off the rails slightly later on.
And then of course, like my favourite performance in this is Jamie Sives as Dougie Gilman. He's just absolutely brilliant every time he comes on. It's such a different character to his character in Guilt. You know, like the sort of kind-hearted, music-loving Jake to the hard-nosed, old-school, slightly racist Dougie Gilman.
I think with a character like this, you have to be very careful in terms of overuse or overexposure.
Yeah.
And I don't think they could have used this character any more perfectly than they have. He's in maybe 2-3 scenes an episode.
Yeah.
And he steals the show every episode. From the first point you see him, when he's walking up those stairs and he says, I've got 2 dead bodies in there and you're wanting to ride them. They're still warm. You're instantly like, oh, this guy's going to be good. He's just got some of the best one-lines. And even some of he doesn't even have to say anything. I think is it in the first episode, he does something to Lennox and he just wheels away in his chair, giving him the finger. Yeah. And it's just... But he's genuinely just got some of the... I've written down, actually, in my notes, Gilman's best bits, because there's so many good parts that he has that just absolutely steal it from me. From the, 2 dead bodies, you want to ride them. When he bursts into Toll's office when they've just found out Drummond and Lennox are being partners, and he's, I've got 2 dead French people, heart full of his spunk. And... the whole just anti-French, these French cunts. Obviously, well, that's got rid of the tatty water. What I'd never heard that before, but obviously I'm going to be using that again quite a lot, I think. The whole speech with his wife when he's trying to make up with her. And he just delivers this beautiful, impassioned speech. And he's like, well, he must be banging someone because he's no giving me the message on him, or it's like... And of course, at the end, the last episode, his whole rant about he used to be a fat cunt and he went on this diet eating all these nuts and stuff.
Anyway, I've been going through some old footies. Turns out he's an ex-fat boy, obviously bullied.
Well, you can't say that for sure.
No. Fat boys are there to either bully or be bullied. Sole purpose.
Thank you for that.
And then he's found some exercise and diet plan. Raw meat, seeds, all that pish. Just about the time the bairns started to vanish.
What are you saying?
Well, I'm not suggesting that the diet turned him into a nonce kidnapper, but it's just a signifier that he was getting ready to wreak his revenge on the world.
Revenge for what?
For being a fat prick. Fat boys are aye fat inside. It doesn't matter how much coral reef they shed.
But it's the most un-PC and even just his interactions with, Drummond and the other female cop when he's asking about the, you two lesbos. It's just, you just need to look at him and crack up laughing. And I think they don't overuse him, which is so important in this, because it could have become a complete parody and really bad. It's not a parody. I genuinely believe he works in that office and he is like that, and they just put up with him because he probably does get results.
Yeah.
But he's just a dinosaur left over from an older time. But yeah, he's just absolutely fantastic.
They sort of lose the thread of part of him not part of him, the character, but part of his sort of storyline, because my favourite part of his is when he's stalling the lawyer for Derek, for the counsellor played by Derek Riddell. He's stalling him by walking him all around the police station. And of course, it makes a few off-colour remarks of essentially accusing the lawyer of being a racist, but in doing so, making some quite racist remarks himself. Toll tells him that there's got to be a consequence. He's put a complaint in, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, fucking hell, does that mean that he's going to get suspended? We're not going to see him again. But then it just sort of continues as if nothing happened, Yeah. I mean, does that happen?
Yeah, and there must have been
Does that happen before? Like, it happens before Lennox and Drummond arrest his suspect because he's away at the Roger Moors.
Love that. I cracked up at that text message. Your mate's a big fan of the old Roger Mooring.
So he's obviously not been taken off duty, because they're trying to find him so he can get his own collar,
Maybe he's gone round and paid the solicitor a visit before he can put in the official complaint. You never know with Dougie Gilman.
I mean, the very last scene, well, not quite the very last scene, but the sort of climax of the confectioner's interview when Ken Stott says, "We're into stoppage time now," and we're at stoppage time now, Dougie. And he's like, "Right," and he gets the cloth off the cleaner's trolley.
Now, in terms of the name Mr. Confectioner, do you think they just had to go for that because Candyman was taken? Because
maybe. Yeah.
It's a bit of a crap name, but whereas, Candyman is a lot better.
I watched the new Candyman the other day. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's not
very
great.
good.
No, it wasn't very good. I mean, you look at all the people that are involved in it, it should have been a lot better. But yeah.
Mr. Confectioner, he's abducting, okay, still kids, but they're like 15 to 13.
Yeah.
As they say, when he abducts Kylie, she's not your MO because she's too young.
Yeah.
So you don't associate confectionery with
Nonsense.
older children. So I don't know. I thought Mr. Confectioner was a bit of a shit name. Anyway,
I mean, it's been so long since I read the book. Is that the name of the character in the book?
I couldn't remember. I genuinely couldn't remember, and I wanted to go back and check, but it was only this morning I remembered that I should probably check that, and I didn't have time because, as you're aware, I had a few Wi-Fi issues this morning.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
Anyway, we'll come back to Mr. Confectioner later. Sorry, I just wanted to go on a tangent when I read that. Mr. Douglas Gilman is fantastic. As Jamie Sives is in the role.
He's so good. And then, but there's some more sort of. I mean, I guess probably the next person to talk about is Ken Stott. But before we do, I mean, there's a load of Scottish acting gold in this, Derek Riddle.
Yeah.
He's really good in it. Laura Fraser, she's always nice to see her. She doesn't have an awful lot to do. Ewan Stewart is Ray's dad. Another fine actor. I think the last time we had him on was Down Among the Big Boys, I think, wasn't it? Was the last time we had him on?
I believe so.
Yeah. Forbes Masson turns up in there in a sort of crucial but small role. Yeah, they got brilliant people. Joanne Rossi from River City. Otherwise known as Alison Mackenzie. But come back to Ken Stott as Bob Toll. So Bob Toll was played by the late, what's his name? Fucking hell.
John Sessions.
John Sessions in Filth. He passed away a couple of years ago. Now, I was going to ask you about Ken Stott. Do you think, is there an actor who's played a policeman more than Ken Stott in his career?
We've already discussed this.
Have we?
We've discussed this on the Down Among the Big Boys episode.
Oh,
and we had a conversation about this because he said, yes, he does seem to play a police officer a lot.
Yeah.
And he does. And this is another one we can chalk up to. Because I think we said that, even like Shallow Grave and Rebus and The Debt Collector. Sorry, it was The Debt Collector. We discussed this on not Down Among the Big Boys. But I remember we did have a conversation about this on that episode because that was what led to me thinking about it. So he does always seem to play, and he just pulls this off so well as the kind of aging chief of the department. He's trying to appease this ragtag bunch that he's got. He's obviously got the old guard, like as you say, Lennox and Gilman.
Yeah.
He's trying to appease the new guard, like Drummond. He's just trying to get results. He's just getting nagged from above, and all they care about is arrest figures and results, and that's all he's trying to do at the moment. He's basically just trying to ride out to retirement.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to get his arrest figures up, and that's why you see he's just trying to pin anything on anyone. So when that guy in the cagoule comes in, basically confessing to all these murders, Toll straight away is like, yes, fine, pin it on him, get him to sign a statement. He's trying to get the confectioner to confess to crimes that he couldn't have possibly committed just to get them off the fucking off his desk and get those figures up. He's an old school, but you could tell he has glimpses when he obviously cares.
Yeah.
And he cares about Ray when his dad passes away, for example, he's very much this like, Ray, go home. And as much as he is a bit of a hard-nosed guy chasing results and wanting to do things the right way, he also, and you can tell that he's constricted by the powers above in terms of finance and arrest figures, and he's not maybe used to that, but it's being forced on him, and that's the way of his thinking now. He's forgotten about real police work in a way.
Yeah.
It's all about just make sure it's on budget and you get the arrest, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. He's, and you get the impression that there's like little hints that he might still be working on his screenplay as well.
Yes.
Because that's a big part of the character's story in Filth, is that he's a sort of frustrated screenwriter, and he feels he's got this sort of police story to tell. Because I think there's a scene when Lennox is appealing to him for something, and he said, that's what he says, something like, that's one of my lines, or something like that. He said, he's so good in this, and the sort of that scene that I mentioned before, when he sort of lets Dougie Gilman loose on John Sim, the confectioner. You can tell, you get the feeling that whilst he, on the face of things, he might be a modern progressive policeman, that that in certain occasions will call for perhaps less politically correct actions, you know what I mean, and sort of kind of bending the rules and to make sure people are punished. He's so good. Yeah, he's so good in this. I mean, it's bizarre that we've not had more things on the Swally with Ken Stott in it. I think it's only the second one we've done, right?
I think it's the third. We did. I do need to update the Swally tally, actually. Yeah, my apologies. I've been meaning to update the Swally tally, but it keeps getting away from me. But yes, I think this is only the third thing that he's been in, which is bizarre when you look at how much he's been in. But yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, The Debt Collector, Shallow Grave, and this pretty much. So I think there'll probably be more Ken Stott to come on the Swally. I mean, I'll probably need to look at, maybe take a break from crime for a few weeks, but we need to take a look at his turn as Rebus, I guess, before, of course, John Hannah kind of took... Was it John Hannah that took over?
No, he took over from John Hannah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he took over from John Hannah, of course, yeah. So, yeah, maybe look at a little bit of his turn on that. But yeah, so I think he's a kind of a institution, Ken Stott. And it is surprising that we haven't done more of his stuff, but yeah, he's just fantastic, and just his presence whenever he's on screen, he's just brilliant. And his way, I think probably only him and Gilman, some of their swearing and interactions, like when they go to pick up Louis from the train, it's just hilarious, the banter between the two of them when they're waiting for him. It's great.
So lots of words for paedophile used in this drama. Nonce is one that we've mentioned a few times. Short eyes. It's one that you don't hear a lot of.
No.
And another.
Have you got a list?
No,
there?
No. Well, I did make a list, but I don't want to use all those words.
You could use them. It's fine.
No, it's fine. One expression that I did, I think it was a Gilmanism that I liked, was DJky. For they say no, because was it to do with Lennox's sobriety or something? Now that you're DJky,
yes.
Yeah,
I did like that. You're right. That was very good.
What did you make of Angela Griffiths, or Fiona from Coronation Street? It's difficult to think of her as anything other.
Well, that's what she'll always be kind of known as for me, I think. Yeah, Fiona from Coronation Street, because it was such a big role for her. I have seen her in a few other things. Like she's carved out a decent enough kind of career, I think, in doing quite a few things. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, she was in Cutting It, of course, going from like being one hairdresser to another. And then I think the most recent thing I saw her in was that Netflix show White Lines.
Oh yeah, the one with.
If you ever watched that, yeah.
I watched the first one. I couldn't really get into it. I maybe have to give it. Is it good? Is it worth watching?
It's okay. It's if you're bored, then you know what I mean. It's one of those things. It's okay. Nothing massive of consequence happens. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
I think, mind you, it's like 10 episodes, so maybe I don't know if it was worth that length of time. I will say, like Daniel Mays is brilliant in that.
I mean, he's always brilliant.
And then, So I think he's kind of steals it, and Laura Haddock's good to look at. So that's kind of about it for White Lines, I would say. It's worth a watch if you're desperately bored one day.
No,
she was fine. She was good as Trudy. Tells she obviously cares for Ray. You could tell that she is aware, obviously, of all his demons, and she's obviously likes a snoop round his flat and finds his little room where he's got his pinboard with all of his sort of case files for Mr. Confectioner. Doesn't seem that fazed by it, really.
Yeah.
She's okay with it. So I guess because she knows he's a copper, so it's not like he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
So it would be maybe a bit different if she searched, like if she'd opened his laptop and found he'd been looking for pegging or something, then maybe she might be a bit more concerned. But yeah, she's very supportive. And even when she goes to meet him for lunch and he's ordered a pint and the pint arrives at the bar, and instantly you're thinking, fuck. You know, he was hoping to scull that pint before she arrives. And he just plays it off. First of the day, it's the only one I'll have.
Yeah.
And she seems okay with it.
Yeah.
She seems fine. She puts up with a lot of shit because Drummond keeps coming and taking him away to go on various things. And she's there for him when his dad passes away, and they have a couple of fights, but they make up. Yeah. And obviously she's there for him at the end. They're, I presume, off to Florida on their holidays at the very end. So I thought she was good. Like I say, I could have kind of done without her subplot, really.
Yeah.
But hey, it filled a bit of time, I suppose. I didn't think it was hugely interesting, apart from, as you say, probably giving us one of the best headbutts I've seen.
What I liked about the character, I mean, it's not a particular. Often in these sort of dramas, the kind of wife or girlfriend, they sort of stereotype them a bit into this. Well, it's me or the job. You know what I mean? Into that sort of scenario. With her, that you mentioned before, she is really understanding. Even when Lennox, when they're in bed together, and Drummond has to come and fill Lennox in on something and all that. And they having their dates cut short and everything. But she's like understanding all the way, pretty much. It's like there's one moment where she has a bit of a wobble. I think it's just before Ray's dad passes away, because I guess it's when she's at the sort of height of her own issue at that point. But I thought it was quite interesting. It'll be interesting to see if what they do with her, if they get another series out of it, and what they do with the relationship. But no, I thought she was good. I think you're right. I think she's quite often people leave soaps and you never hear them again until they come back on they either turn up at the panto playing like Prince Charming or Snow White or something, or they end up back in the show. But she's kind of cracked on and done quite a lot of interesting stuff. So
yeah, I think there is the case for some, mostly that I think of it now, really Coronation Street people. I think like Sarah Lancashire has done a very well, good career, and Saran Jones as well.
Yeah,
she's done particularly well. Coronation Street. Yeah. So I think Griffin is maybe not gone to those heights, but she's carved out a good career of maybe playing the girlfriend or the neighbour or in those shows. She's maybe not going to be the lead like Saran Jones or Sarah Lancashire, but she's doing a good job, and she is really great in this, and I would be interested. There wasn't, when she came on screen, I wasn't like, oh fuck this bit again, like I'm still interested. I want to know where it's going, but once it had kind of passed and I thought about it, I was like, could I have done without that storyline? Really, it didn't go anywhere. Unless it was just to show, and I think that's probably the only reason, it was to show that she had her own issues going on, and maybe Ray kind of was so blinkered with his that couldn't understand.
When so we mentioned before, the confectioner is revealed to be John Sim. I had no idea that he was going to show up, and I like John Sim a lot as an actor. I really like him. But I did think that the confectioner was going to be unmasked as somebody that we knew already. Do you know what I mean? Like it was all, like the person was always right under our noses. I actually thought it might be the guy that Trudy sticks a nut on at her work. You know what I mean? I thought it might. I thought it might have turned out to be him because it's all sort of connected, and obviously it wasn't. But I can't imagine that there's many actors who would take a part of a serial murderer and child killer and molester And, and when the script calls for them to go into sort of gleeful detail of their crimes, that like he does in the interview room, when he describes what he did to some of these girls. I've always really liked John Sim as an actor, and I think he's kind of a brave guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's sort of brave in the roles that he takes, and and especially, that is basically an episode and a half, something like that he's in. Is he? Because I think they catch him in episode 5, right?
They catch him at the very end of episode 4.
Or 4,
so he's in
2 episodes.
The last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But of course, there's a lot going on in those other 2 episodes, so you don't see him for a huge amount. I think the interview scenes are pretty well handled-ish, I think. There are some good parts. I mean, I think nowadays we're spoiled for interview scenes with Line of Duty.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you watched the Netflix show Criminal.
I've seen a couple of them, yeah.
They're fantastic. So I think Line of Duty sets the standard of interview scenes, and everyone just loves the interview scenes now.
Yeah.
But I thought they were handled quite well, and Sim is fantastic, as you say.
Yeah.
Very chilling, believable. He's just got this air of confidence. When they arrest him and he's in the interview room and he's laying out his demands that he wants a pipe and baccy, I like a good shag, and wants his tea and food, all organic, preferably. He knows he's got them where he wants them.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, how does he know about Lennox being abused? Or is he just picking up on this? Has he been following Lennox round? Yeah. Yeah. Is this why he thinks Lennox is so dogged to catch him? Because he's hiding his own kind of abuse.
Yeah, I mean, that was what I sort of took from it, was that he, he's perceived it. Well, we find out that he was also a victim of abuse, right? When he was younger. So I guess he knows the signs. He knows what to look for. And I think he has observed Lennox because he's been sort of one step ahead of them the whole time. It's only really at the very end of the interview when he thinks that he's sort of broken Lennox, and Lennox comes back at him, and then Dougie comes in, ignoring his pleas for a lawyer. You feel that he's in control of the situation. Like, you feel like, I don't know, you just when in the earlier episodes when they're finding clues and everything, you just get there's a feeling that this guy's he's too smart for them. They're never going to catch him. Yeah. He's always sort of one step ahead of them all the way, And then he sort of gives himself up at the end, when they arrest him.
Yeah. Which, do you think he just had enough? Or, because obviously he wants to kind of turn the tables on Lennox and Lennox to confess. But why? Is he just fed up? Had enough? He does say that this is his fucking Picasso and that he's an artist and this is what he's created. So he's done 15, was 15 his number, and that's it. Now he's like, okay, I'll just happily go on the beast wing and live out my days.
So, how was the feisty little tyke?
Who cares? She was just bait. You wanted me, you got me. Why?
To see if you're the one to tell my story to. My work's a fucking Picasso. It's time. The world needs to know. I've been at this a while, and I ain't spilling to just anyone. So, why don't you tell me about yourself?
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the sort of impression that you get. That he's the kind of point of his murders. It's not just about his own sort of twisted gratification. It's some sort of statement that he's trying to make, and make a point about certain things and make a point about the government. And HS1 comes up at one point, right? The high-speed train line and all this kind of thing. Yeah. But he's just so fucking good, John Sim. You know what I mean? And you sort of feel everybody sort of up their game a little bit when they're acting with him,
Yeah, he's really believable, the menacing tone. And a couple of times he does kind of lose it, and you're really invested in him, and very chilling. And as you say, there's not a lot of actors that potentially would want to take the part of this evil nonce
Yeah.
killer, but also that could pull it off as effectively as him to be as chilling. And, and his wife, his ex-wife, is speaking about how the only way he could get it up was to choke her.
Yeah.
And things like that. You're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So guess that's why he's been doing this to these girls.
Yeah.
He does play it brilliantly. He's a great actor, John Sim. He's not in enough stuff, really, but I guess he's probably been in enough that he's can just kind of pick and choose what he's doing now.
I've always wondered why I always got the feeling that he was going to be like a film star. You know what I mean? I remember I think the first thing I saw him in was The Lakes. Remember? Do you ever watch The Lakes? And then I had a movie that he was in, like quite an old film. It had Andrew Lincoln in it as well, called Boston Kickout. Really good soundtrack. It's sort of set in Stevenage in the sort of late 80s, early 90s. It was good. But I guess his big thing is Life on Mars, right? That's what he's going to be. Well, so far, that's what he's going to be remembered for. And I suppose his time on Doctor Who as well. He was pretty good in Doctor Who. But I always thought he would go on to maybe go to America, or he would be he'd become like a film star. But he seems to have sort of stayed in. And maybe it's a choice, I don't know.
I think he strikes me as quite happy as just doing these TV shows. 6-part. There was a show he was on. It was great, called Mad Dogs. Did you ever watch that?
I never saw it. It was on Sky, wasn't it? I never saw it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So it's 5 old school friends, but one of them dies in the first season, so it's 4. So it's like John Sim, Max Beasley, Mark Warren, and Philip Glenister. Yeah. And they just get tangled up in these kind of drug dealers, adventures things. But he's brilliant in that. That's a really good show. I enjoyed that. Got a bit far-fetched towards the end because it ran for about 3 or 4 series, and they kind of upped the ante every season. But it was good. But I think he's probably quite happy in just doing. If you look at his IMDb and the stuff he's done, he is in 6-part things. Pretty much every year, at least 1 or 2 consistently. Yeah. And he's got a current Grace. He's a Brighton-based detective superintendent. He's got a current 5-6-part series out. And I think he's just, if you can get away with doing stuff like that, then great. I guess it's like Dougray Scott in a way. He could have been a massive global megastar, but he's maybe just happy doing what he's doing. He's married to Claire Forlani. He's getting to make Irvine Welsh adaptations. He's well enough known that people know him. He's probably set for life. He doesn't have all the hassle of having to do all the fucking stuff. He can go and watch Hibs whenever he wants. Yes. That's kind of what you want, really, isn't it? Yeah. You don't want to be Leonardo DiCaprio on these super yachts with 22-year-old models.
No, fuck that. A pain in the arse, right? Of course not. You might be right. I mean, I know he does a lot of, I think he does a lot of theatre as well, so he's kind of, he takes it all very seriously, I think.
Proper actor.
I don't want to say proper actor because it sort of implies that people who don't act in the theatre aren't proper actors.
True.
But
scratch that. Sorry.
Not that I know any actors, proper or otherwise, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Well, did you enjoy the flashback away day scene when they're off to where they go to Dundee? They go to Dundee to watch Hearts play Dundee United in the cup fight that's game of the season.
Very famous game. The Dundee Hearts. Hearts could have won the league that year, and Albert Kidd scored 2 goals. Yeah. It was nice to see, and I thought that was quite nicely done and well done. See the flashback, and it was very true to life in terms of Lennox feeling bad that his dad had taken him to football all these years, and here's one of the biggest games they've ever been to, and he decides to go with his mates. Yeah, and his dad's just sat on the bus himself. Very true to life, I thought, and very poignant as well. Yeah, and that was a scene I liked as well because it shows how Lennox develops through his therapy with Laura Fraser's character. Because you see him 4 times in these therapy sessions. The first time he goes and sits in the armchair upright and talks to her. Second time you see him there, he's sat on the sofa. Third time you see him, he's lying down on the sofa. Fourth time you see him, he's lying down on the sofa and he's crying. Yeah. And she's the one that says that hour's up. And it shows that it's developing and it's working for him. And he's getting through these things and he's breaking down the barriers and talking to her. So to see those flashbacks, it was great to see kind of the old hearts. And I thought that was one of the few times I've seen stock footage melted with newly shot footage, because they put kind of the sepia on the new footage and made it look good. And I think they might have put that on the stock footage as well, the old footage. It made it look really authentic.
Yeah, it did.
And I really liked those scenes. And I thought that set a good tone, because the whole way through probably the first 4 or 5 episodes, they've been teasing this tunnel and what happens. And it isn't until, I think episode 6 is the first time or does he mention Les in episode 5? But when he mentions Les, and then you see at the start Les with the girls and then setting fire to the pigeon. And then the best part was the big reveal who Les was.
Yeah.
When it was and it was Gavin Mitchell. I absolutely loved that. And hey, fair play. He's good. He's only
really
got a few
good.
lines, but he's really good.
Yeah, I was pleased to see him doing like some real drama. Like, you know, like to your point, it's not on the screen for long, but the conversation that he has in the park with Lennox, with Dougray Scott playing Lennox, and explaining how he has dealt, because we find out that Lennox he either hasn't been abused, or he's not had it as badly as Les.
That's what he says. I didn't get it as bad as him.
He feels guilty.
I still got it.
Yeah, he feels guilty because he ran away and left his friend there. And the conversation they have when Les explains how he's sort of come to terms with it, you know, and how his family, like having somebody else to live for with his family and his wife and his kids, and how that's sort of centered him and helped him and helped him deal with it. You know, I mean, quite a meaty and emotional role to play, you know, for somebody who we've really only seen doing comedy. I mean, I've never seen him in anything apart from Still Game and a couple of old sort of Scottish sketch things. I was really, really good. And I hope it helps. I hope it opens some doors for him.
Really do. I really do. I think he has done quite a few things seriously, acting wise. And in fact, I think he was in, mind you, it's not really a serious thing, but I think he was in quite a few episodes of, like, is it Hamish Macbeth maybe, or Monarch of the Glen. One of the two is a police officer. So I still wonder if maybe it goes unmentioned, because I was expecting him to say something else when they're having that scene on the park bench, and they're having the heart to heart, and Lennox says effectively, it's the reason I became a cop, because of that night, because I wanted to catch those bastards and do them, but I've never been able to find them. Oh, in fact, Les says, and he's like, I've never been able to find them. And I was expecting Les to turn around and go, aye, because I found them. And I fucking knocked fuck out of them. But he doesn't, and I still wonder if he did, because he was obviously an evil bastard when he, you know, late teens, and I wonder if he did find them and they're, ended them, and then he's moved. That's how he's been able to move on. Don't know, but maybe he didn't, and maybe he did find peace with his family. But that's where I expected that was about to go. Yeah,
maybe. No, I'm looking at Gavin Mitchell's IMDb now. I feel a bit of a twat for not looking at it before, but he's in Taking Over the Asylum, Cardiac Arrest, Parahandy. What else? The Dunwich Horror, Monarch of the Glen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
8 episodes, Monarch of the Glen. So, and Ramsey Nesbitt as well.
Do we think that Dougray Scott had it in his contract that he had to ride a motorbike like in Mission Impossible 2?
Maybe. I don't think I'd be that happy if I lent somebody my motorbike and I just fucking let it fall on its side and they got off it instead of fucking...
But he's like, give me your keys, and then when he gets the bike, there's a perfectly good police bike sat right next to it that he could have taken. Now, okay, I know this bike's faster, but still. But yeah, he just speeds off, and I thought, is that a little callback to the days when I used to work with Tom, eh?
And I used to work with that wee Scientologist cunt back in Australia.
Yeah, I just thought that was a nice little callback to his days working with John Brew in Mission Impossible 2. I thought that was good. I was just going to say, not a lot of action, but there was the action scene in the French restaurant I thought was particularly good.
Yeah.
I thought the little Louis getting stabbed and then the headbutt and the pan of water and stuff. There was some good, that was a nice little part, I thought.
Yeah. I liked the little Peter Ingles mention. That was nice. So hopefully we get that character later on.
I liked that, but I was a bit upset that Bruce wasn't mentioned because I think he is mentioned a couple of times in Crime.
Right.
And there would have been a perfect opportunity for Gilman or something to say, like, hey, like your last partner that went off used to dress up in women's fucking knickers. There would have been an ideal kind of part for that. But I was a bit disappointed with no Bruce reference, but yeah, there you go. What can you do? You can't have everything.
There was a turning off the gas reference
yes.
though, to the two.
That was, yes.
The two dead the French couple switching off the gas for each other.
In fact, that might have been maybe the reference for that. Yeah, maybe that where they left it at that. But yes, I did chuckle at that quite early on.
I liked as well Toll's summing up of the Territorial Army and about being full of head cases and all that. And Dougie's like, hey, I used to be a TA.
And the three of them just turn round and look at him and give him like a knowing, like, yep, sounds about right kind of look. Yeah. It's really good. I read some reviews online of this. Now, I just wanted to read a couple to you because I think this was quite well received, but also not. Right. And I think some of the reviews I read, I think people thought, and I can see why, you're probably a typical BritBox subscriber. As you've said, it's full of kind of old UK drama shows and some UK drama shows. And as we touched upon earlier, I heard, why do I keep saying I read an interview? I listened to an interview with Dougray Scott and he was explaining, and they did say, why BritBox? I said, well, now, this is obviously what he's saying. Maybe ITV and the BBC didn't pick it up, if that makes sense. But of course, BritBox is funded by them effectively. It's part of it. But he said they were offered BritBox and they could get away with more. So they could have more swearing. Yeah. They could have more noncy stuff. So, and a bit more violence. So that was the reason they chose it. It gave them a bit more freedom. Probably they could keep more of a Scottish accent as well. Yeah. So I think that's why. And I'm pretty sure if it's on BritBox, it's going to end up on Netflix or something one day.
Maybe,
I think you would hope. A lot of the BBC and ITV stuff does, so I think it will and get a wider audience. But some of the people that reviewed this online might have thought it was meant to be like a new Midsummer Murders or A Touch of Frost, and not something that was written by Irvine Welsh.
Right.
So it was a couple I read. Okay, I started watching this as the trailer looked good. Episode 1 had some, but now predictable, references to toxic masculinity and feisty female cop, but this is par for the course. By episode 3, the angst of the main character was getting boring. They introduced an obnoxious, racist political type who, surprise, surprise, supported the Union of the UK, so was clearly a baddie. The dialogue became increasingly silly. The scenes where the compulsorily Neanderthal white male cop led the suspect solicitor through the building was ludicrous, and Ken Stott's superintendent character had a bizarre meltdown. I'm sorry, but enough is enough for me. I'm going to watch some old episodes of Taggart and Rebus for some quality, realistic crime drama without the PC brigade and emotional angst. Now, I'm sorry, how can you say watching Taggart and Rebus and you're saying this is PC?
I know.
Because it has a feisty female cop. When Doogie Gilman is shagging hooers and talking about that's got rid of the tatty water, is calling his French colleague a froggy cunt at every opportunity. How can you get away with saying this is too PC? The second review I read, which I thought was good, was I watched the first episode, but that was all I could take. I watch crime dramas to watch a detective solve crimes. If I wanted to focus on their backstory or their family, I'd watch a family drama. I don't care what baggage detectives are carrying around. It should have nothing to do with the story. I wish Scottish TV could get some good writers. It's a beautiful country and deserves to have some good crime dramas. I miss Taggart with Mark McManus. I did enjoy the Scottish accents though. Now, can you name me one single TV detective that doesn't have baggage or some sort of family drama? They're all either alcoholics or Taggart's wife was in a wheelchair. Yeah. They're all violent or have some trauma or have something that's driving them to catch the criminals. How can you say, I can watch detectives, I just want a detective drama with detectives that solve crimes? Watch
The Bill?
Like a documentary, 24 hours in police custody or something.
Yeah.
And they do solve the crime.
Yeah, I know.
It upsets me.
Fucking watch to the end. I wonder. I mean, you have to wonder what the sort of average Midsummer Murders viewer, how they would have felt when, in the first few minutes of the drama, Ginger falls backward and gets a spike up his arse. That never happened to John Nettles in Midsummer Murders.
That was great. I did burst out laughing at that. He's literally just complaining about his piles and then he falls on a spike. It's brilliant. Oh, never mind. But so I think that was some of the negative reviews. But some of the positive ones I read, a lot of people really enjoyed it. So, which is good.
Yeah, I don't know that they would. I mean, I can see why ITV wouldn't have it, because ITV would put a show like this on probably in their 9 o'clock in the evening slot, right? I think that's the sort of sweet spot for those types of dramas on ITV. BBC One probably wouldn't either, but BBC Two, I think, would probably show something like that. And obviously, I'm sure Channel 4 would have done.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything in this that wouldn't get shown on BBC Two or Channel 4. I agree. I think ITV, I don't think so. There's a lot would have to be cut out. And I think the same with the BBC.
BBC One.
Yeah, BBC One. Some of the references and some of the swearing, I think. And I think the language would have to probably be toned down a bit as well.
Oh, you know,
I mean, in terms of the accent.
I mean, I think it's obvious the reason that none of the commercial channels picked it up, and it's just anti-Scottishness. You know, I mean, I know exactly what would have happened. Somebody would have looked at it and said, right, people in London are going to struggle with the accents or something like that. You know, we can't just have it on BBC Two Scotland. You know, I think if they do end up showing it, because they might show it, I guess, if BritBox is, I know it's a joint venture between the commercial channels in the UK, so maybe they'll stick it on at like 11 o'clock at night on BBC Two, just so, after Newsnight on a Thursday night or something like that, just sort of tuck it away.
So the audience's ears have just got tuned to Kirsty Wark, so then they can go further into Scottish accent.
Yeah. You thought Kirsty had an accent. Wait to hear Dougray Scott as DCI, Detective Lennox. It's just it's just anti-Scottish racism. As usual, fuckers.
Damn bastards.
Either, get it put on Channel 2, you're not getting your queen back. We can set up a blockade at the border.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, I'm not touching that.
She's not coming back until the BBC commits to quality Scottish programming. Employing Scottish actors, Scottish writers, and Scottish directors. Missed opportunity there.
Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah,
I'm surprised Nicola Sturgeon never came out and said independence and you can have her back. We're holding her hostage until we get what we want.
It's not a bad bargaining chip, actually. Yeah, you could have done that.
Dead monarch.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, is it time to put crime through our Swally Awards? Do you have anything else?
I think so. Yeah. After that bombshell, yes. Yes, let's go for it then. What is up first?
Okay, well, as always, the Bobby the Barman Award for your favourite pub in crime.
Oh, if only Bobby had a hip flask with him, and then we could have said that was his the best pub. There was quite a few, but we didn't see enough of them.
Yeah.
I think my favourite was the one, I think it's the Poacher's Arms, where he orders the pint and the whiskey.
Right.
And leaves it on the bar. That looked like a nice establishment, but the rest, don't know, a bit Wetherspoonsy. There's a couple where he meets the drug dealer that looks like a nice little kind of snug area. That would be quite good. But what about yourself?
I like that one. I like the one with the snug bar. I like a snug bar. You know, they're sort of. I couldn't tell you the last one I saw. I think Mac Cameron's used to have a snug, didn't it?
Yeah,
back
I think they still do. I think.
Do they? Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I only found my mind was blown by their fucking rooftop terrace. We were there last time. We come into this pub for nearly 30 years. I had no idea that this fucking rooftop terrace.
I think it's quite recent.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was there 3 years ago.
Right.
It was there the last time I was in Aberdeen.
Okay.
Anyway. Because I remember I had a pint up there, but.
Right.
Before that, I don't know.
Judging by the state of the tables, most of the bar staff don't know what's up there either, because it was fucking,
Very true.
Okay, next up then, the Ewan McGregor Award for Gratuitous Nudity. So there's only really one you can go with here. and that's Stuart and the Swingers. Stuart being Lennox's brother and actor brother.
Now, you don't actually see anything with them because the woman has her nipples covered. However, you do see the French couple's boobies. Yeah. However, I did give it to the Swingers because it is quite gratuitous.
And it's funny.
Whereas and it's funny. Yeah. The French couple, they're dead bodies, you'd be expected. But yeah, I gave it to the Swingers as well because it is a humorous scene. So it's very good.
Okay. Next up, the James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish. So quite a few people to choose from in this one. Who did you go for?
Yeah, there was. I actually had like almost a three-way tie. Like Ellie Haddington, Ken Stott were my two initial. But looking through theirs, they've been in quite a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
I actually went for Gavin Mitchell in the end because looking through his IMDb, as you have just done, pretty much the majority of the things he's in is Scottish.
Yeah.
So that's actually who I went for. But what about yourself? Did you have a different opinion?
Well, I was a bit torn between three people. I had Ellie Haddington as well. Alison Mackenzie, because she has appeared a couple of times lately. And Ewan Stewart is a bit of a face, as well.
He is. Yeah, it really is.
So it was difficult. So I think we could just say they're all winners.
Okay.
They're all
Everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner.
Well done.
The Jake McQuillan Your Tease Out Award. I mean, there's only really one choice, and it's Trudy sticking the nut in Mark in the office.
Yeah. I did give a special shout out to Brittany's mum smacking her dad in the head with the ashtray. That was a particularly belter, but it has to be Trudy headbutting her boss. That was just a great headbutt and a actual cheer kind of let out. Like I was watching Cobra Kai. It was almost like, yes, get in. Yeah, enjoyed that. Fully agree with you on that.
It's just because it just comes out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's the last thing you expect to happen. He's, Estelle, played by Alison Mackenzie, has left the business, and he turns his attention to Trudy, and he's sleazing, and she just fucking whacks someone. Yeah, it's cracking.
What I particularly like about that as well is that then she sticks it on him and then gives him a bit of a verbal abuse of, you've been touching up all these girls, you sleaze. Yeah. And it's not like a massive rammy in the office. You just hear these voices. Yeah, you fucking perv. Yeah, you tried it on with me, you cunt. And it's just, it's realistic. That's what you would expect. And very vindicated, I thought. So clear winner.
The Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing. I mean,
that's a lot.
Take your pick. I've got Fuck Off and Play with the Lassies. Dougie Gilman. I've got Don't Act a Wido Cunt with Me, which I just love the word wido. It's brilliant. There's tons. Well, what did you go for?
That's my clear winner, the second one. It's the build-up as well, because they get in the car and Toll's phoned them, and he says, I've got the press they're crawling all fucking over me.
Yeah.
And Lennox, you can't call them that anymore, Bob, eh? It's the media now. And it's just the delivery of the...
Boss?
Fucking press have my nuts in a sling.
Not called that nowadays.
Eh?
Not the fucking press nowadays. It's the fucking media.
Oh, don't act a fucking wido cunt with me, Ray. Fine Cornell. Is Amanda with you? Have you got me on speakerphone?
Yes to both, boss.
Pardon the French.
But there's so many to choose from, but that was the one that really made me burst out laughing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great ones.
Yeah, it's really good. Archetypal Scottish moment.
I went with, as we've just mentioned, Lennox's brother Stuart, and it's a kind of double whammy reference in that Ray says to him, what was your last role, Stuart, eh? And he said, I played a drug dealer in River City. And then when he goes round to the swinger's house, the guy says to him, what do you do in River City? Yeah. Just Scottish moment for me of a Scottish actor being in River City and being recognised for being in River City. I'm sure there's a lot of Scottish actors, much like the aforementioned, it's Alison Mackenzie, that has been in a lot of stuff, but you keep referring to her as
Joanne
a River City character. I think that's something that follows around a lot of characters. So, a lot of actors, sorry.
Yeah.
The guy in River City. And I've been in fucking loads of stuff. But yes, I was in River City. That was my archetypal Scottish moment. What about yourself?
I've told the story before about me almost getting Shell Suit Bob into trouble with his girlfriend. The night after you and I saw them in the garage in Glasgow. Anyway, yeah, so I was going to go with cocaine at a funeral. But
Buying cocaine off a taxi driver on the way to the funeral.
instead, I went with hearts losing to Dundee because snatching defeat from the jaws of victory seems like an incredibly Scottish thing. Don't know why.
Yeah.
You know.
Certainly does.
And then finally, the Sean Connery Award. Who won the show for you?
I'd love to give it to Jamie Sives. I'd love to give it to Ken Stott. I'd love to give it to the absolutely wonderful and beautiful Joanna Vanderham. But
Sure you would. Wouldn't we all? A little bit younger.
Dougray Scott. Oh, he steals. He's in not every scene, but he's in a lot.
Yeah.
Whenever it's focusing on the main kind of crime, it's him. You're seeing it through his eyes, his perspective. He does the full range of emotions, being nice and being friendly and being funny, but the anguish and some of the points that you see that he's losing it.
Yeah.
And he's got one of the best lines of the entire show for me that made me laugh so much.
What was that?
God, grant me the serenity to smash this fucking line of ching up my hooter and catch that child murdering nonce.
Yeah, I've forgotten about that.
The delivery of that, you're like, okay, yeah, brilliantly acted. He's just fantastic in this. What about yourself? I take it.
I agree.
In agreement? Or?
Yeah, full agreement. Because the only time I've had him on before on the Swally was when we did the Crow Road last year, and I think I said at the time I don't really like him in the Crow Road. Like I don't like the character. It just seems a bit contrived and stuff, and I fucking. Supposedly a successful stand-up comedian. His stand-up comedy's fucking rubbish. But I've seen him in a lot of stuff, Dougray Scott, and more often than not, I've enjoyed him. But in this, I don't think he's ever been better. Do you know what I mean? He's absolutely brilliant, and especially that you mentioned the scenes when he's struggling to maintain his sobriety, and when he's especially the last few episodes when he's sort of closing in on this nervous breakdown. I mean, he's so good. You know what I mean? Like, it's so good, when he breaks down in the interview room in the last episode and then sort of bounces back. It's absolutely brilliant. And I think if it had a wider release, I think he'd have got awards for this, Dougray Scott.
Yeah.
If more people had seen it.
What says a lot to me as well, and it's not so much his portrayal maybe, but the character, but I think it is part of his portrayal, is when they go to Brittany's funeral and the mum says in front of Toll, he's the only one that cared, or something along those lines, but she conveys that Lennox really cared. Yeah. And Scott conveys that so well in terms of the way he is with the mum, and he loses it at her a couple of times, why didn't you tell me the boyfriend? But it's because he's desperate to know about this, and he just delivers an absolute powerhouse, and I don't think it gets over the top or hammy at kind of any point, really. It's struggling, and he does a very good drunk or chinged up performance as well. The scenes with him and Stuart in the taxi are just hilarious. So yeah, I think a very fitting win for Dougray Scott there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to feel like if he had been on Channel 4 doing this, he would be looking at at least being talked about for the TV BAFTAs, right?
Yeah, you've got to think so. To be in a 6-part series like this and I'm not saying it's Stephen Graham level of acting, but it's not far off. Yeah.
I mean, and Stephen Graham is a good actor, but occasionally you feel like he sort of phones it in a bit. You know what I mean? Like that one time that he did with Sean Bean, which was good. And he was good, but you felt Stephen Graham can do a little better than this, And the other one where they did about the little boy, like this true story about the little boy that got shot in Liverpool, Little Boy Blue. I watched him playing a policeman in that, and again you're like, but there's other things he's done, but he's fucking immense, obviously. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so I picked crime, so that means that the arrow turns back toward you, what will we be talking about on the next episode of the Culture Swally?
Well, Greg, the next episode of the Culture Swally, if we don't get cancelled for any comments we've made about certain old lady that died in Scotland this week.
Holding a dead body hostage.
The next episode will go out on the 6th of October. So I thought we would continue our Swally Spooktacular after the success of last year when we did The Wicker Man and, of course, Dog Soldiers. So we're going to do a couple of little horror films or horror pieces of media over the month of October. So I'd like to go back to 1989 for my choice and look at an episode from The Play on One, which was directed by David Heyman, and we're going to have a look at Govan Ghost Story, which is available on YouTube for any listeners or yourself who would like to watch it. It's only an hour long, so it's a play on one, so we can have a look at that. It's about an old man whose tenement flat gets haunted. He gets the willies up him, not in a pegging way, but in a different way. So we'll have a look at that on the next episode of the Swally.
Excellent.
That's all right.
Nice one.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording. If you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Instagram at cultureswallypod, or you can follow us on Twitter at swallypod. And if there's anything you've seen you'd like us to look at review, or if any news stories, and hey, there's not going to be a lot of funny news stories coming out of Scotland in the next week or so. So if you see anything that you think's funny, unless someone's held the Queen's body hostage, then you can email us on cultureswally@gmail.com. And as I say every week, please feel free to rate, review, subscribe, wherever you get your podcast. Tell your friends, just tell one friend about us. It really helps the podcast to grow, and really appreciate your support in the podcast over the last 2 years, pretty much, Greg, that we've been going for.
Crazy.
So thank you very much. And of course, Greg, you're the website master, so how's the website?
The website's good. You can find us at cultureswally.com. There's links to all our 50 plus episodes that we've recorded over the last 2 years. There's some features on there. There's links to our socials, so you can go straight through to our Twitter, our email, and our Instagram. So come and check us out. I need to see if I can find out how many visits we've had. I think you can find out.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I'll have a look. And I need to update the Swally tally quite urgently, because it's been a while, actually. So
yeah,
I will do that during the week. Okay, right. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Greg.
Yep.
Anything exciting planned for the rest of the day?
That's all. I might away and let the tattoo out.
Okay. You enjoy yourself. You're going to look up solo male whilst you're doing that. Smoking solo male. BBM. Okay. Well, all right. Enjoy yourself then, Craig. Till next time.
Till next time.
I want to take a proper talk with you, like really open up about where it is we're gone wrong. I've had a right good think about things, and I think I can see what it is I'm doing that might be a wee bit off. Now, I can go off on one without giving you a word in edgewise.
Well, that's...
I don't know. What I'm trying to say is, I've got my faults. I mean, I work for years, so you're bound to be saying to yourself, is he off pumping some dirty wee hoor, or has he got some daft wee bird in tow? Because he doesn't seem that interested in giving me a message anymore. Well, I ken that women can go through a crisis of confidence when they get to a certain age. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when you were wearing short skirts, even though it seems like fucking decades. I mean, you must look at younger birds and say, well, they've got it. I've just not anymore. Well, it's a man dressed as lamb syndrome. It's bound to affect a woman's confidence. It stands to reason. Well, I just want you to ken that I totally get it.